Welcome back to the Event Lighting channel. This time we're going to continue our conversation with August Thede from Denmark. We're going to look at how he uses his show file and arrive at a festival, and how he integrates the festival fixtures into his show using My Virtual Rig or MVR files, and how he kind of clones and copies stuff into his show file to make everything work the way it's supposed to. So I hope you're going to enjoy this video, and let's just get right into it.
Okay, so what I want to show now is how I'm using the recipes together with my groups. If we look at this view, I have some macros over here where I actually can reset my all of my programming. So what we're having is my group 1 to 14. That's all the groups that I'm using in my recipes. You can see the little sign up there. That's meaning it is used by something. And what I'm doing here is that I have my groups that is 50 to 36. That's my festival stuff. And then I actually have my standard groups, or my normal groups. And this is the groups I used when I programmed the show file. So if we are watching this, you can see I'm highlighting I'm highlighting those fixtures, and it's the same thing that is happening in the Visivik. I can have to do like this. You can see now I am highlighting those.
Yes.
So those fixtures is those that I'm using at the moment. And because of that, you can also see that this group is the same as this group. No, when I select them, it's the same.
Yeah.
And it's the same with all of this. So right now I'm in the status when I'm using my standard stuff, and because of that, you can see it on the Visivik. But what I'm doing when I arrive to a festival is that I fill out all of these groups, 51 to 46, and these I'm having the wash lamps, or the fixtures that's on the festival side, which I want to use, and I put them in the selection grid, either from the 3D positions, but if I don't have an MVR file, or if I don't have anything beforehand, I just normally do it by hand.
Yeah, set up the 3D, yeah. You mean?
Yeah. Or actually, if I'm in a hurry and I don't want to use the 3D, I just plug them in my selection grid as this.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you see, this is 3 LXs with I think there's 8 washes on each, and the same with the strobes. I have 3 LXs and all of that. In my show file, the only group that actually matters with all of this is the wash group, because that's the only one I'm using with all of the wing stuff and all of that, beside of my own floor package, of course. Okay. All of my spots is 1-to-1. So one fixture, one fixture, one fixture, one fixture. That's the top spots for my band. And I have a group here that is that's contain all of those. And I'm using that as the master group, as you can see down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is that I'm patching my fixtures. We can have a look at the patch also. My patch is divided into 3. And this is, like the MA2, where we are using the layers. But instead, actually, I have made this a step further. So I'm using also a grouping fixture for the whole part of it. So I'm having a grouping fixture for all of my own production, where I have all of my stuff patched in here. I have a festival programming. That's the fixtures I'm using from the Visivik right now at the moment. And that's also always patched. And then I have my local, that's the festival rig that I'm using. So the only thing I'm changing when I arrive to a new festival is that I'm deleting all of this. And then I'm either doing an MVR import, we can do that later on, or I'm gonna patch it manually if it's, like just quick. This is 24 sprites and 24, I think it's beam 350 or something. And if it's just, you know, like straight trusses, it's easier just to type in manually.
So if you arrive at a festival where it's only like 12 spots and 12 washes, it's easy just to do it.
Yeah, by hand it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we are doing a more complicated show with a lot of stuff, it's easier to do maybe an import or a MER into the show file. Yeah. So I always patch all of my fixtures because, or all of the fixture that's in the rig, because even if I don't want to use them, I don't use all of the spots. They are still in here, and I can still, you know, like use them if I want to do something on the run, or if I want to change something, and that's pretty smart to have. Yeah,
Definitely.
so that's how this is set up. So then, when I have patched all of my fixtures, I paste, or I store them into the groups, and I'm making the selection grids as they should be. When I'm happy with this, and I have checked that my top spots is around where I want them, because if you can see on the Visivik, I have one spot for top spot for each of the band members, and that's almost the most important part of my show file. That's those spots is nice and working properly and hanging in the right place. So that's the first thing I do.
So
when I have
just
done
a question,
this,
if you have a large rig with 24, 48 spots, you simply just pick whatever spot is the best for your lead singer, for instance.
Exactly. And I'm at the moment only using one spot per, you know, like member. But if we're having maybe a really big rig, maybe I want to use one, 2 or 3 or more spots for the same. And then I'm just, you know, like storing that to the group as well. So I'm just, instead of having one fixture, I'm just having maybe 2, 3, 4, and yeah, all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
So that doesn't matter. So what I'm having now is that I'm having the clone festival preset macro, and this is a way to get all of my newly patches fixtures to get a reference to the recipe. So if I'm using fixtures that I haven't had in the show file yet, that's pretty common because I like to clean up my file from time to time. I'm actually cloning the groups that I have started up based off. As I said, it was 71 to 84.
Yeah.
I clone that group to the new group that it should be from 51 to 34 or 64, sorry, and then it just clone that group to the other group if preset through. So that takes
so that's all presets.
Exactly, it's all presets, and it's merged high priority because I just want, you know, like to get a clean start with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we run this macro, it will ask me if I want to do that. I'm just clicking yes, and it's just cloning all of it. And it's taking some time because I have a wait time here at the lay time. That's just, you know, like nice to have, I guess, because sometimes strange thing happen if it's gonna do more than one thing at a time.
Especially if you're storing something into your show, it's a good idea to have a wait after the store anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you know, like just to see if something is happening, because when you don't have wait time, it's maybe just happening so fast that you don't know if it just happened. So, but what you can see now is when I'm pressing this, I can go back to my presets here, and you actually see that all of those is active right now. They are filled out, so they have been cloned like correctly.
Yeah.
So I can choose that as I used to do.
Once again, a small word from our sponsor, Martin Professional. This time we're going to look at the XIP from Martin, relatively new fixture released from them. The cool thing about the XIP is that it is an IP-rated fixture, so you can basically use it outdoors all year round if you want to. And if you are using it for an architectural installation, for instance, and it's standing somewhere lighting up against the wall, if it starts raining, at some point the head is going to fill up with water. And Martin has implemented a kind of cool feature to get rid of this problem. So let's just take a look at it in here in the software. If you go into your wash lights, in my case the Aura XIP, I can go into my control channel and go all the way down to the end. We have some new things down here. We have empty water and we have outdoor. Let's start by the empty water. If you go into empty water and set this to on, it's going to automatically detect if the house is filled with water, and it's going to empty it once in a while. And that's really cool. The other thing you can do is you can do it manually. Let's say you start your show and you just want to make sure that there's no water in the fixtures. So you go into your outdoor here and you simply click this one called empty head, and the fixture will turn off. It will tilt all the way to the side and make sure that there's no water in it, and it will go back and do what it was doing before. So that is some cool features about the Aura XIP from Martin, and once again, thank you, Martin, for sponsoring this episode. Let's continue with the video.
What I do now is that I want to change my current rig, which is those, with my house rig. That's the one I have locally right here. Yeah. And for an example, I want to take another song just to show you how this is working. I take this song. This is a pretty crazy one. And actually, have a look here. It is fading out from the middle and to the, maybe too, can you put up my feed as well? Then you can just see the Visivic in the behind. Yeah. You can see on the screen they are moving out from the middle and doing what it should do through the whole song. And don't mind the colors; they just maybe some bad ones. I just update this.
Yeah. That's one of the things, if you get new, that's why you keep your colors global, because if you have a fixture that has an odd color, you can correct that fixture. Just one fixture, of them, as long as it's global, and then it will follow all of the same type fixtures.
Exactly. So as you see this this delay thing, it's a recipe, so it can easily be changed, and because of that, you see my rig that I'm having on this today's festival, it doesn't do anything yet. So we want to make a change to that, and to do this, I am having another macro that is copying and cooking. So you shouldn't get scared of this, but this is actually just taking all of my groups that I have made locally today and override with the groups that I'm using in all of my recipes. If that makes sense.
Yes,
yeah.
Of course.
So this is just taking the fixtures that I put into the groups 51, which is all of my festival spots, and then it's just copying that to group number 1, which the active group that I'm using.
Yeah.
And it's doing
which
that.
Everything is programmed from.
Exactly. All of my recipes and all of my programming is done by using group 1 to 14.
Okay.
So by clicking on this macro, all of my groups are copied and overridden, because I don't want to use the old groups because if they contain fixtures and I merge them instead, then maybe the selection grid will be ruined.
Yeah.
Because they will merge together and maybe make some odd, like swipes and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
So I override this. Then I don't know if this have been changed yet, but I have some issues where my group masters wasn't set to negatively, because I use a lot of group masters in my show. So I'm just using one finger by going, and then I'm using group masters for my different fixture types to pull them down or up, and make the show more dynamic.
Depending on, I mean, the show I do is in 90% of our shows is in daylight. So sometimes when we go into a night show, I really have to work with my group masters not to fry people.
Exactly, and also I often use it, like doing a song, if it's gonna be, if it's a long song, or if I want to give the last a big extra notch up, then I have to use my group master to put it down in the beginning of the song, and then I can give it a bit more in the end make a...
Maybe you could just, if people don't know Group Masters, maybe you could just show an example of how it works.
Yeah, we can maybe have a look at this one. Should see. We can have a look at this. Maybe we have the... Oh, sorry. I want those to be on like this. Those are my washes. And in my show file, I have groove masters of all of my types of fixtures, including my house rig. So right now, I'm having a groove master here for all of the washes. And what is done, what this does is it's taking the intensity and it's making, like a fake dimmer master. So if I'm making a phaser maybe running from 0 to 50, and I have this at 50%, then the maximum output of the fixture, if it's set to 50, will be 25.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So it's pushing the upper limit down. Yeah.
Yes.
And I use this all of the time.
And it's basically just, and if you put something else into your all wash group, it will affect those fixtures instead.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So because I'm changing all of this group and override them, I also have, like just to set the group master again to negative, because sometimes it changes to positive, which doesn't work, of course. And
That's
also
weird.
when I'm overriding, yeah, it's a bit weird, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
So I just put that in. And also I'm labeling the groups, because when I'm copying and there's a group with the same name, like it's going to change to .2 or #2 because there's more than one. Yeah. So I just did that because I'm using the groups here on the fader side here. So I just wanted to, like have it called all spots here. So it doesn't get, like, it doesn't look good if it's called #something. Yeah.
No, and something might break if you reference it somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I'm assigning some an appearance to all of my faders, because when I'm overriding it, it's also going to reset. So this is just to make a cleaner look. You don't have to do this, but yeah. And then in the end, I just have a line that's called cook sequence run through / override. And then just overrides all of my cooked stuff, all of my recipe stuff. So it's going to cook all of this. And if I have added more information that hasn't been in the sequence before or in the preset before, I have to cook it again. So this is just to be safe that it works.
Yeah, but it shouldn't really be a problem in a recipe show.
No,
if
it shouldn't.
100% recipes, it shouldn't be a problem. But better safe than sorry, as you said.
Yeah, exactly. And I also have just a macro, just for cooking. So if something weird is acting up or something, I can just be sure it's safe.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we are standing in this queue where all of my washes, they are blinding up. As you can see on the Visivic here, it's just blinding. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna click on my copy and cook festival to rig macro. I'm gonna click please, and then you see a lot of stuff here is changing, as well as my output on the Visivic. And that's simply because, see, it's all gone black. That's simply because now the groups contains the fixtures that are programmed locally. So it's taking all of my Visivic lamps fixtures out, and then it's now affecting only my festival spots.
Okay.
Yeah, so now all of my other programming of the current Visivic file is gone, and now it's only the fixtures that are patched from a festival rig that's active in the groups, and by that means it also only the ones that's active in the queue lists.
Okay.
Yeah, so you see my nice flyout I did before. Now it's actually acting correctly on my section grid with the new fixtures. And it doesn't care if this is, now this is 15 wide, but if this is, no, 16 wide, but if this is 100 wide or 8 wide as it was before, it doesn't matter. It will always look the same, this flyout.
Yeah. Could you maybe show us a recipe line just so we can see how you set this up as a recipe?
Yeah, we can go into this one. This is called intro. And as you see, I'm having here my group, which is my all wash, with a featured dimmer preset, which is called 100%. And then I have a matrix, which is called waterline out. And as you see, this is under my specials. So this is all of my song special matrices, where I have this waterline out. And if we go into the matrix pool here, I have my waterline out matrix. And you can see this is taking use of wings in 2. And then it's having a delay from 0.25 to 0 seconds. So that means from center to out. Yeah. And because I use the recipes for this, it's affecting the group that I have in my selection grid.
Yeah. And it is so simple to do this.
Yeah.
Now.
It really is. It really is. And also the same if we go back here, if I don't want to use all of my, if I don't want to use maybe the back row of my wash lamps, I can easily just type minus fixture 317 to 324, like this. Then I can override this group. And then I just press my magic cook again. And it's just gonna change it all. Just like this. And you see, now it's only those.
And the back row is simply gone from your programming.
Yeah, exactly. We can just put them back in again, just to, you see, now they are back up here, but they doesn't do anything because they are not in the group anymore. So they're gone from the programming. And you also see all of the values from those fixtures. Like this, you also see the fixtures here, they are not active anymore.
Yeah.
So they are not used. So yeah, cool. This is a really, really, really great way of using this. And I only made the macros because it's a lot easier for me, because when I have done this show, one of the big things about this is also that when I'm running a show now and I want to add something on, let's say that we're having a blackout here, like this. And then maybe, okay, I want to add my wash lamps, and I actually want them to be at 100 in this queue.
Yeah.
In the blackout queue, just for fun. Then when I go back to my groups, I have my all washes here, and you see they just turn on. Then my Visivic file, as you see right there,
yeah,
it's still black. But then if I'm gonna reset my fixture rig again, it's gonna take all of the original fixtures that is in my Visivic and put them back to the groups. And then actually, when I change something in this situation on the festival rig, it's actually also changing in my originally programming because it's referenced by the groups. Yeah. So now I can make changes on all of my shows without, like going home and remember to clone it back to the source fixtures.
I think that was one of the issues with MA2, and something I was having problems with from time to time
exactly.
again. Is you had so many different versions of your show sometimes, and then you did a change in one show file, and you reused another show file, and the problem came back and all this stuff. I think with recipes, it's so easy to change something on the fly and just remember to use the same show file every time. but it's not the same problem, because even though you have a really weird rig and you maybe park some fixtures or done something, it's so easy to just undo all that stuff and clone in new fixtures into it. I think it's brilliant to work with.
Yeah, exactly. And also you can keep like optimizing your show all of the time. And one of the reasons why I did this in Mode 3 is because in the fall we're gonna do some shows fly out, and I actually want to use this same show file that I used all the summer with our own floor package together with something that's locally, so instead of just only using the program stuff I have on the house rig, I can also take care of my floor package and distribute that to the house. And
So
that's
this
really
is,
nice.
I mean, one of the things I talk a lot to people about recipes is it might take you a little longer, depending on who you are and how you work. It didn't take me any longer, but it might take some people a little bit longer to build your show file. But it is
exactly.
all the time you might put into the programming, you get back when you're on the festival.
Definitely you do.
No more programming all night. That's not necessary anymore.
No, it isn't. And just to clarify this, if I press this now, you see my blackout cue. Yeah, sorry for that too. You see, it's all back again. So if I go cue back, the fixtures is off, and the cue we worked with was blackout. That I just wanted to edit all of my washes at 100, and when I press go, it's gonna turn on. Yeah, exactly. So this is really great.
Do you think there's something missing in the recipe workflow? Because I think the recipe workflow is really cool. I think it Control C and Control V and Control X on your keyboard gets you a long way. But if you are looking at recipes and say, okay, we wanna suggest something for developing recipes in the future, what would you say would be beneficial to the workflow?
I think one of the things I missed personally was, to maybe change so you can move the lines, because it's doing the last line first.
Yeah.
No, the last line last. So if this wash is at 100 here, and I add another one where my wash is at, maybe we can do it on the current cue. You see my beam back floor, they are at black. So if we're gonna add a line and take my beam back at 100, it's gonna turn them on at 100 because it's doing the last thing last. So what I actually personally want to is to make maybe some move stuff, or to change those, because sometimes you want to maybe clean up stuff, or move stuff in the right direction. But I think one of the bigger things about this is because people, when I'm talking with, is why don't do it in the old way, when you press, just go to the fixtures, take the presets, take the group, take the color, take the dimmer, take the position, and do something with it and press store. I really think that there should be a store option for this right here. That should be stored as a recipe.
Yeah.
So the desks remembering what you are picking, what group you're picking, what preset you're picking, and then they're gonna make a line for each attribute or each preset type for all of the groups. That would be a really game changer.
It would automatically build 4 lines for what
exactly,
you just did.
Because I have dimmer, position, color, and beam. Yeah, exactly. That would have been really, really great. So
one thing I think would be beneficial if you are working on a console that doesn't have a keyboard is, like you have in the patch. If you go into the patch, you have like a copy button.
Paste.
Do you have
all of this stuff
somewhere? Yeah, exactly. All of this stuff in the bottom would in some ways be beneficial to be able to turn on. Maybe it's not permanent. Maybe you can turn it on if you need it. But I think if you're working on a command wing, an XT console like yours, and you don't bring a separate keyboard, then you might get into trouble, because then the workflow is really going to be slow.
Exactly, and I actually find out that this was maybe easier to do on PC actually, because
Yeah, a lot
you can
easier.
easily copy paste, and you like sitting typing stuff from here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
I
definitely
when I started doing my show, I did it with on PC next to my console here, until I figured out that because I started programming on a Command Wing XT,
yeah.
sorry, a Compaq XT. But then when I got the light, I found out that Control C and Control V and Control X works perfectly fine here, which speeds up the workflow. So I stopped using the laptop next to it.
Yeah, of course,
So that's one of
but
the
yeah,
things I think would be beneficial. And then if there's something I really would like to see is some sort of queue-only functionality.
yeah, for the recipe stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because sometimes
that
if you go in and you build, say you have your queue list you're running, and then you have half a second of everything flashing white, and then it goes back to the state it was in. That process takes a really, really long time, because you have to turn on a lot of effects, you have to turn off and choose colors for a lot of fixtures. So a queue-only queue can be very, very long in recipe lines. And then when you're done with it, you have to go all the way back,
yeah, and
because
release it.
you can't just take the previous queue, because that maybe only be 2 recipe lines, but it's tracking maybe 20 recipe lines through the entire song.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
some
You should have
sort
a
of
little marker or
functionality.
something.
Yeah,
Definitely, that'll be
that could be
a great
cool.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Perfect.
Anything else we want to see from your show file?
No, maybe I should try to put in an MVR file. Maybe
That's a good
that would
idea.
be yeah, because now you see my Visivik rig is back and running.
Yeah.
So if we had that in common, we can go in here, and I'm just gonna delete all of my fixtures here and those two.
So this is the workflow if you came out to a festival and you received an MVR file beforehand, then you could import it into your show.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm always cleaning up all of my program or all of my local stuff just to get a clear view. And what we can do is then gonna import an MVR. And now I'm taking the file from Roskilde that we worked on, just to give it a go. So let's see what's gonna happen here. And in MVR world, it's the same. What can you say? It's the same as you do the PSR on MA2, where you're having this little window popped up now, when you're gonna have to choose what you want to use. And as you see, nothing here is conflicting yet, as it shouldn't, because my patch is offset with 100. So actually this should be good.
Yeah.
We also have all of the pipes and stuff, and I don't want to have them in. So we're just gonna use mine. We only want to get, like the fixtures in.
Yeah.
And all of that. Yeah. Like this.
Now it's importing the file, and we should say Roskilde is what is it, like 300 moving lights and a lot of 2 lights.
I think it's actually more than 500 fixtures.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's a lot of light when you push the button.
It's a big rig. So
yeah.
So what we're gonna do now is just taking the washes, because this workflow is the same for all of it. Just gonna take the spiders here, because that's my local wash. I'm just not gonna copy paste them. Sorry, that's was a mistake. I'm actually gonna cut them instead.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make a copy of them. Just want to move them in here. Yeah. Then I want to give them my own fixture ID. And now it's complaining because some other fixture is using the same as well. And I've guessed, yeah, it was the strobes here that's using the same, but I don't want that. Okay. So yeah, it's fine. And then we just gonna change the fixture type real quickly. because
and that's worth noticing when you import an MVR file from WYSIWYG, or even if you export it out of MA3, it comes out with dummy fixtures. The fixtures are there, the position and the rotation is usually correct, but the console doesn't know exactly what fixture it is, so it just puts in a name, but it's not an actual fixture.
No, exactly. It's just a dummy fixture. So for now you have to change it yourself. But I really hope that this feature will be, like better at some point, or maybe you can get a dialogue up to choose your own fixture or something. Instead of just doing this.
Yeah, it's a little annoying, but for now, because there's actually a lot of cleaning up sometimes.
Exactly, it's a lot. But for now, I'm just want to use my wash lamps here fixture, and there's 80 of them, so that's quite a lot actually. And remember what we talked about before, because if this was a smaller rig, maybe with 24 fixtures, I will patch them by myself. But this is a huge rig with 80 fixtures, so this will take like a long time to patch manually. So this is one benefit of MVR, really big one.
Yes.
Gonna leave the patch. And I'm actually also gonna change just the name here.
Yeah, it's not
something else anymore. No. This is this is another show. Doing big stages now.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go into my presets, to my festival presets, and then I'm gonna make a world for fixture 301 through 399, and you see those on a big line now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna store that into a world, and overwrite that world. Then down here I'm having a 3D window where you actually can see my whole stage right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna add my worlds here, and I'm actually just gonna pick this, and for some reason they're lighting up right now. No, they're doing something.
Yeah,
but don't mind that, because that's maybe just like some 3D issue or something.
Yeah, maybe it's a pixel thing in the spider.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pick a camera, because I want to have a 2D view of my rig like this.
Yeah, and that's very important to mention. When you do this export from 3D into the selection grid, it actually looks at the perspective you are looking at the cameras. You could basically look from one side, and it would do the selection grid from that side or from an odd angle. So it's very important to, if you want it straight, you want to use the 2D cameras.
Yeah, because you can also do it like this, just selecting it here. Then we just want to go back to the other one, this one. Then you have the rig like this.
Yeah.
That's a bit, that's a bit odd. We don't want that. So what we want to do is we're going to go back to 3D and take our all washes, and then I want to do a 2D. Just going to move it a bit. And in this rig, we're having 2 rows in each side with sidelights. And because those are sidelights, I don't want them in my wash group. I only want my washes. So if I take my lasso here, it's going to select all of them. And I can see it in my rig here. That has the perfect position of the 3D.
Yes. Yeah, and even if you combine washes with spots, and they are also taken from the 3D, everything just works in conjunction.
Exactly. And this is really time saving stuff, really, really much.
Yeah,
so what I'm
this
gonna
is
do
where
now,
you get this is where you get the time back from the time you may have overspent on making your show with recipes. This is where you get the time back.
Exactly. Because as you can see now, all of my festival groups here is grayed out. That means we don't have any fixture here yet. So what I'm gonna do is just store the all festival wash here. I can select it now, and we don't have any active presets. To do this, we simply just go back and click on the clone festival preset macro that I've did. And if we go back now, oh, sorry, let's do that again. Clone festival presets, yes. And
so you just clone from group to group?
Yeah, exactly. And then my preset isn't updated. Okay, that's strange.
That's probably an instance thing, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. So let's have a look at this then. We have have to look at this from a fixture sheet. Yeah, okay. So that's also one of the issues here is now we're having, like the background effect because we're having spiders.
Yes.
So what? Yeah, actually, that's also one thing in MA3. I think you have to be a little bit curious about, or you have to know this, because now my preset doesn't work because I haven't selected the right fixture. So what I want to do here
You've only
is
selected
now,
the main fixture, right?
exactly, and I want to use actually the background fixture because that's where my like my stuff is.
Yeah.
So what we can do here is pressing the down button. Then we're having the actually fixture selected now, all of it. And I guess we have to. I don't think we want the flower effect here. So I'm gonna make a matrix and select the second one. No, maybe not. Then we're just gonna store those back into the group like this. No.
I had the problem at some point. I was using recipes and I used an Aura XIP and I didn't store the subfixtures into my groups, and then the recipes don't work, which is logical.
No, exactly.
But I just couldn't figure out why it didn't work.
No, exactly. So now we're having this. So what I did here was that I was selecting this. That's gonna oop this. Having this is my main fixtures. I'm just gonna press down on this and gonna copy that. And then I wanna merge. Oh, I don't wanna merge this. Strange, because now if we're gonna do this, yeah, we see now we have our presets here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's because the color and the information is there. It's just on an instance and not the main fixture.
Exactly. So what we actually want to do here is only having the main fixture back again, because now if we are making like a swipe here, it's gonna do on the other own half, it's gonna do the main, and the other half is gonna do the pixel stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe.
And that's one of the things you really need to pay attention to when you clone stuff and when you work with the fixtures, which instance you are working with. It's kind of annoying, but when you get into the workflow, it's not impossible.
No, exactly. So we're just gonna go back again and do this again, selecting all of the fixtures, and then we have to go one click down to select, like the sub fixtures.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go back again, override this group.
And now it looks right. Exactly.
And as we select them, we can also now do all of the presets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, we just gonna do the button again. Just gonna cook and copy the festival to rig again. Just to see how our cloning, or how it turned out with the new groups here. So you can see.
That works.
Exactly. And yeah, of course it doesn't look right here because it's maybe be wrong on one way or another, or maybe I have to remove, you can see the pixels on the behind. But
I think
this
sometimes
is
what I usually do with the spiders is in the fixture profile, I switch demo 1 to 2. That's usually the problem with them. Yeah,
exactly, and make that work around. Or also maybe removing the pixel, the flower instance from the group.
Yeah,
could figure this out. Yeah, exactly. But you're seeing it's laying underneath the main fixture here.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this was just to show how easy it is to get a big rig of fixtures changed from maybe 16 fixtures, and now this is almost 80 fixtures in, like how much have we spent, 10 minutes or something. So this is a really, really easy way to doing it.
And if you were doing that on an instance-less fixture like an Aura XIP or something in a standard mode, you wouldn't have this instance issue.
No, of course. This is only because it's a multi-instance fixtures, and the same with a JDC1 or pixel fixtures, and unfortunately we can't see it on the Recipes right now because it's of course
not the other show file.
Yeah, exactly. But we can do just click and reset all of the fixtures again, and then in a moment we should actually having the whole show file back again. Maybe or maybe not. Okay, something happened with all of the other stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's also kind of important how you do that and how you structure it. And that is always up to the single person, how you work with different stuff.
Exactly. Oh, I now remember why it doesn't work, because I don't have parameters enough.
That's why
you're
using 50 universes on the
using a lot of all of this. Yeah, exactly. So if we're just gonna delete all of this, then they're gonna be back. Just
it's quite a big rig.
It's a fun week. Large rig. It was a fun week, yeah. So now the Recipes should be back, maybe, or maybe not.
Did you delete all of it, or are you still using a lot of odd universes somewhere?
No, I think I should have deleted all of the permanent list.
Yeah, granted.
Yeah, so maybe some network stuff. Yeah,
never mind.
Yeah. No, it's right here.
That's interesting. That's interesting, and I find that that way of importing MVRs, it's a bit tedious. I think there's a lot of improvements or something that could be made to the workflow. But
definitely.
But as of right now, it's a new way of working. It's a new way of actually asking for an MVR now. There's WYSIWYG and Vectorworks actually works quite all right with exporting MVRs. I heard that capture doesn't work. So it's not necessarily an MA problem when something doesn't work. Sometimes it's the software exporting the MVR that is doing the problem.
Yeah, and I think this all this MVR and GDTF stuff, I think it has been not a long way, but I think that's having some stuff that's happening, but we are not that far away, but we're still working on it. So I think within the couple of next years, it will be really game changer when all of this is speaking together, at a higher point.
Yeah.
Because
it would be really cool if it exported the whole thing, like PSR did. So you get the fixture, you get the position, you get everything. You don't have to combine and export positions and stuff like that separately.
No, exactly. And also making, like using time in Visivik or Capture or something, like drawing stuff and putting in the right place. And then you can put it into the show file, making the MVR, using the selection grids in the 3D, and, like making all of that. It's just gonna be, really, really, really great and really fast, actually. Yeah. Great workflow.
It is. It will be
Yeah.
as soon as we get used to it. Now we should get used to the rental companies doing the festivals and these places where you arrive as a guest LD. You should have a workflow not only sending your WYSIWYG or Vectorworks file. You also need to make a MVR you can send out with the material as well. So you have the MVR set up so you don't have to ask for it all the time.
No, exactly.
Cool.
And also all of this MA3 stuff, I think people are more and more, like seems to want to use it, because now I'm using is on this tour, and it has been a really great. And of course, I learn a lot, and I always learning a lot, but it hasn't been that bad or that complicated as I thought it would be. So I'm really hoping for that in maybe over the next year. I personally gonna do more shows in MA3 and using all of those clever things that you can do with it, instead of like just doing as you did last year on MA2.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's one of the things you should know about in MA3 is, but if you're used to doing something on MA2, that's not necessarily the best way of doing it in MA3. So you have to change your mindset about it and say, okay, this is, of all things, not an MA2 console. So there's no reason to compare it to MA2 all the time. Of course, there's some places where you would say, I would love this feature or that feature, and why can't it do that? That's fine. But you have to change your mindset a little bit if you want the full potential of the MA3.
Really, really a lot. And also, for me personally, I have used many hours in the MA2 software, and I'm really, I really trust that platform and all of the way of how it's working. And when something is acting up, I'm not nervous, because I'm sure enough that this isn't gonna ruin the whole show. And I think MA3 is not there yet, but by doing it on smaller shows and learning stuff, I'm getting more and more used to it, and I really hope that someday, maybe soon, I will come to that point also, to be trust in to give trust to MA3. Yeah, so you just have to use it. Yeah.
I must say I trust it. I've used it not on larger scale things, on my own stuff, like you do your band, I do my band, and on that particular assignment, I really trust it. It has not been. It's been doing weird stuff, but sometimes it's my own fault because I might not have saved the instance of a fixture into the group with the main fixture, just as we just did. Stuff like that, but that's not. That's expected behavior. You just have to get used to it.
Exactly. It's just because you don't know any better. You're just thinking maybe, okay, in MA2 it was supposed to do like this, but the MA3 isn't like that. So
no.
Yeah. Exactly.
But still saying that, I still think if you're used to MA2, you will be able to turn on the MA3 and do some simple programming, patching. You can program almost the same way on the MA3 as you can on the MA2. But if you want to utilize the selection grid, if you want to utilize recipes, the 3D stuff like that, you need to get into it, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes time, It's like driving a car. You have to learn it. So
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was really nice run through of your show file. Really nice run through of recipes and the power of the recipes, and MVR import and stuff like that. So thank you very much for being here and taking the time to showing us what you do.
Yeah, and thank you too for your great videos and all of the nice knowledge you have and give to people. It's really nice, and that's how we all get better. It's like sharing knowledge and sharing way of how we're working, all of us. So thank you to you too.
Thank you, and I hope to see you somewhere. Well, A little cheating because we're going to see each other next week on the festival.
Yeah. See you.
All right, but see you, August. Thank you.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.